Hello, welcome to my Toastmasters Club, the Think and Speak. We're about to see a portion of Michael's speech telling a story that won't put them to sleep. Michael is sharing his researching and presenting project. He has asked his evaluators to pay close attention to the way he uses his hands. He's identified gestures as one of the areas he most needed to improve in his last speech. Let's watch Michael's speech. After he finishes, we'll examine how his evaluators present their observations.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. How many of you have ever had this happen? You're sharing a story with friends, family, or teammates. You're lost in your own narration, thinking about what you're going to say next, when suddenly you notice that people are falling asleep, fidgeting, staring off into space. Your listeners are bored or disinterested, and you're not sure how you lost their attention. Now, there's no need to raise hands, because I'm sure that this is an experience that most of us have had at one point or another. In fact, an experience like this may be what prompted some of us to join Toastmasters. That's why I want to share with you some time-tested professional techniques that can help all of us become more effective storytellers. Employing these tricks can make you more engaging and give your story flair. Thank you.
Now that Michael has given his speech, he'll hear from his evaluators. As you listen to them share, consider everything you know about effective evaluations and positive feedback. Ask yourself if they're following the guidelines you've learned.
Michael, I really enjoyed listening to your speech. You did a good job and kept everyone engaged. Storytelling is very important, and you gave us some great insight on how to tell stories better. Thank you.
This evaluation was ineffective because the evaluator did not reinforce specific positive behaviors, focus on project competencies, or highlight areas for improvement. Let's listen to another evaluator and see if she is able to give Michael a stronger evaluation.
First off, I want to say that this was a very informative speech. You had good eye contact and fit all the important information in the right time frame. With that said, I definitely see areas where you need to improve. You spend a lot of time behind the podium. Standing behind the podium too much makes you appear as if you are nervous and uncomfortable. You don't want to look uncomfortable, so make sure you move around more. Another thing you did that showed you were nervous was talking too fast. Next time you give a speech, make sure you focus on your speed and pacing so you don't rush through your speech. Thank you again for speaking today.
While this evaluator did highlight some areas for improvement, her evaluation was ineffective. She did not use I statements or phrase her feedback in a positive manner. Additionally, she did not address the topics the speaker requested or include specific examples from the speech. Let's listen to one more evaluator and see how he evaluates Michael's speech.
Thank you for sharing your research with us, Michael. That was a well-delivered speech, and I noticed several areas where you have improved since your last speech. The thing that stood out to me the most during your presentation was the use of hand gestures. Based on our conversation before the meeting, I know that this was an area you were specifically focused on. I could really tell you've been practicing this. I thought it was particularly effective the way you used your hands to emphasize your opening story about listeners who are bored and disengaged. It really helped pull me into the speech. I know our grammarian was keeping count, but I also noticed that the number of ums you used was much less in this speech than in your last. Good work. Since this is a research project, one of the goals is to use credible sources and share it with your audience. I like the way that you did this with your final few tips, but I also noticed that you had no experts credited for your first tip. It would have been helpful for the audience to know where this tip came from or why you weren't able to credit a specific person. I also noticed that you spoke a bit fast. I noticed this specifically during your transitions. This was a time where I was hoping you would slow down a bit to help me go from one thought to the next. I felt a bit rushed. Pacing might be a good area to focus on when preparing for your next speech. I like the way you crafted smooth, clear transitions. This helped me follow the flow of your speech. I thought it was particularly effective the way you summed up your previous tips while transitioning into your final tip. To summarize, I was very impressed by your speech. I saw a great deal of improvement. I also see a potential for continued growth as you focus on things like pacing. Use your strength in providing quality content by sharing all your sources with your audience. And keep up the good work on using hand gestures and a great variety in your vocabulary. I look forward to hearing more excellent speeches from you in the near future.
This final evaluator did a great job encouraging and affirming Michael, while also offering helpful insights he can apply to his next speech. Let's review what he did well. As we've just seen, an effective evaluator will provide a full evaluation that is 2 to 3 minutes long. Use I statements that focus on observed behaviors, give specific examples from the speech to support feedback, provide positive, encouraging feedback rather than advice, reference the speaker's goals and the evaluation criteria, highlight the speaker's strong points, and conclude with a summary that affirms the speaker. That's the end of our evaluations for today. Thank you for visiting the Think and Speak Toastmasters Club and joining us for Michael's speech. I hope this helps you in crafting feedback when it is your turn to be an evaluator.